K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
Game on, where progressives fear us and rhinos tremble. Welcome to the political jungle. I'm JD.
This is Stacey. No one is safe. No one is spared.
Lock up the children.
And the old folk.
Welcome to the world of liberservative conservatarians.
If you got a problem with us, kiss my ass and take a hike. Tuesday night, November 24th, 2015, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. JD and Stacey here on Game On and that K98 Talk. Hello.
Hello.
As we speak right now, because of Turkey and what they have done in horrible act, be ready for re-education radio. Welcome back to all my political freaks, geeks, and back alley sneaks. Everybody right now, get over to K98Talk.org, get in that chat room, say hello to the drunkest, nakedest, craziest, ecstasy peyote, takingest radio listening audience in the business. The reason you got to get in there right now, Dr. A, Randy Arrington himself, former Navy aviator, in that chat room. You want to know something? You just got to check out the picture he has on the Avi. He looks like Sam the Bald Eagle from the Muppets. Excuse me, Kermit, does this film have any socially redeeming value? But we love you, Randy. We love you. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Dr. A.
Tonight we're going to be talking the downing.
Pinch.
Tonight we're going to be talking the downing of the Russian warplane by Turkey, what it means, why Archduke Ferdinand and the guns of August may be upon us again. Does this flip the script for that election, baby? Cooked ISIS books and crazy, crazy Chinaman and Mo. Remember, guys, we're not just here live Tuesday night, 9 p.m., on that K98 Talk. We do it again live for Game On Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. After our new lead-in, Bell River with that For Whom the Bell Tolls. We shift gears Sunday morning live again on that K98 Talk for Bloody Marys and broadsheets. Cure over that mainstream media hangover. Fridays, 5 p.m. drive time. WWIII, JC, 1360 a.m. in that Philadelphia, Southern Jersey, Northern Delaware. And folks, we're on an absolute roll. I could not be more stoked to make this announcement. We don't have a date firm yet, but we are going to be bringing you the political world's own Mr. Rick Wilson. If you are on the Twitter, that is the Rick Wilson.
Team Wilson, woohoo!
Not only is this the man who referred to Donald Trump a month or two ago as a douche canoe on CNN, which was great, but major news today, they have him and Liz Mayer. It's something with the Super PAC and the whole thing and Trump, and we'll get to it. Remember, guys, not during the show, after it, get over to Spreaker.com, hashtag JD and Stacey, JDANDSTACY. Find a catalog of everything we've done here with that Ricky Tiki Tavi Rick Robinson and that K98 Talk. And get over to that FlipsideShow.com. Find out where Michael Loftus and the Flipside Show is. What's the Flip Show? It's the conservative version of the Daily Show. Go check it out. If your cable provider don't carry it, what do?
They have to call their cable provider and say, we want the Flipside Show now.
All right. So, big, huge news day. And unfortunately, it is during a time when I don't think that we have the man in the White House to. I honestly think that after today, that world events and the progression of where they're about to head have been completely taken out of the hands of the greatest superpower on the face of the earth, probably since about the end of World War II. I want you to think about that for a minute.
Well, I traditionally use a hashtag for just about every one of Obama's foreign policy moves called leading from behind. And today I think Putin, kicked his butt.
This is, again, I'm going to leave it to the Obama administration to handle hashtag diplomacy.
Just the entire idea that we're scrambling to figure out what our response would be to Turkey downing a Russian plane, and while the pilots are parachuting out of the downed plane being shot in midair.
We don't know that. We know that they were. We know that one. The only thing that we know that we can tell the audience is that one Russian pilot is dead. There were reports that he was shot from the air. There were reports that he was shot while he was in the air from the ground, but we don't know yet.
Well, there was video of them shooting at them while they were parachuting.
No. I understand that, but we want to be very, very careful where we go on this because you're seeing a lot of different...
and I understand that. But, the point, I guess, in my mind is that we've talked a lot about what's going on in the Middle East and the U.S. position and how the leadership in that particular area seems to be gravitating towards Vladimir Putin. And Iran is asking him for help. Syria is asking him for help. Benjamin Netanyahu, who previous to this administration, Israel having been a great ally of the United States, has taken a meeting with Putin. As we look at how those Middle Eastern states are going to go forward and who their allegiance is going to be with and who they're looking to for leadership, I think the Obama administration has done a fantastic job of assuring it's not the United States.
Which is where they were headed from the beginning. As I was saying just before, I had lost my train of thought. There are shades right now more than ever before of the beginning and the start of World War I. And specifically what we're referencing is a Russian warplane that was shot down today by Turkey. And as Stacey said, Russian television is reporting, at least from that shoot-down, and again, I want to take this very, very slow because there's a lot of different reports. From the best of what I could see, the Turks shot down a Russian warplane. They're claiming that was inside Turkish airspace that they had given about 10 or more warnings to. The Russians, of course, are saying, no, this never happened. No, it was in there 30 seconds. What have you, there's no disputing the plane was shot down. The pilots ejected from the plane. There was then a search and rescue effort launched by the Russians in two separate helicopters with search and rescue teams to try and recover the pilot. The last news I had, Stacey, correct me if you've seen anything different, is the last the Russian media is reporting is that at least one pilot is dead with no information on the status of the other one, and a Russian Marine commando was also killed when one of the helicopters came under mortar and small arm attack. Is that what you understand it up to this point?
I actually saw that Marine was investigating the initial crash, but I did see that one Russian Marine as well as one pilot.
That's what I said. Those two helicopters were launched after the plane was shot down as a search and rescue to go investigate that plane going down.
I would agree with that. I'm sorry.
It's serious, but it brings something to mind as well. The Turks, after they shot the Russian plane down, again, this is a Russian plane. This is Vladimir Putin that we're talking about. Why are Russian planes flying in Syria in the first place? Why? Because, Mr. Redlines has decided that Assad must go. Chemicals, red lines. Well, nothing happened. And as we've been saying on the show, as Stacey alluded to earlier, you have the United States ceding what has been called and referred to as a hegemony in the Middle East. And a hegemony is basically a power enough to keep a region stable enough to make sure that you have somewhat of geopolitical stability as well as serving our own national interest. Presidents alike for the last 70 years, Republican and Democrat, liberal and conservative, have done everything they can to keep, at the time, the Soviet Union and after the fall of that, the Russians out of the Middle East and to retain our hegemony. But as we've been telling you here, the Obama administration has decided to cede that and to allow the Russians in. Hey, Obama, I'll tell you what, Putin's going to be there in Vietnam. I'm going to let him bomb and this, that, and the other thing. Okay. We explained a couple weeks ago about client states. You now have a major superpower that does not have the United States national interest at heart, deeply involved, to Stacey's point, with everybody turning to him in that part of the world. When you do that and you have no leadership, to my mind, Obama basically painted the scenario of that Russian plane being shot down today.
I don't disagree with that at all. My bigger concern is being that Turkey is part of NATO and being that the French have recently undergone a horrific terror attack aimed at their general population. Probably one of the most disgusting things I saw on social media today was that CNN was reporting that France was in shock because it killed non-Jewish folks, and they could kind of understand when it killed Jewish folks and people who slandered the prophet, but that this was, making them a little more confused about what the goals of ISIS and other people were. But France has just taken on this, I guess, I don't know what you would call it, burden as being a Western leader. And now you have Vladimir Putin, who has no doubt showed that he is willing to take specific and very distinct action once he comes into a region. I'm a little bit worried about what happens to NATO because NATO was actually set up as defense against Russia.
No. Your answer about what happened to NATO you got today. Nothing. Nothing's going to happen with NATO. I'm tired. I'm honestly tired of even Republicans and conservatives talking about NATO. Go back and take a look at some of the audits that have been done on NATO in the last 10 years. Why don't you go back and break down who the NATO countries are? An attack on one is attack on all. What their military budgets are, what kind of weapons they have, how much money they have to put behind that, and first of all, politically, how much their people are going to actually send troops out into any kind of ground war. Now, I want you to combine this with something else. I want everybody right now to think about this. Do you know where this NATO meeting is being held? NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. An attack on one is an attack on all. NATO, for the love of God, prevented the Soviet Union from spreading and expanding further than it would have during the entire second half of the 20th century right up to its fall. And because of the weakness of Europe, and because of continued weak military administrations like the Clinton administration, like this administration, listen to the joke of this. NATO right now is meeting in Brussels, in Belgium, where the seat of the EU is, to hunker down and decide on a plan of attack
on lockdown, isn't it?
On how to confront Vladimir Putin on ISIS. And they're doing it in a capital city that is on lockdown from threats of a terrorist group that last numbers put of no bigger a fighting force than 30,000. Vladimir Putin was a member of the old KGB. He was a colonel. This man understands tactics. This man understands geopolitics. I guarantee you he's read Machiavelli, which means that he knows when to exploit a situation for his own self-interest. This brings us back to the plane being shot down today. Because Obama is a paper tiger, and because the world does not believe him, and because nobody is scared of him, and because he has drawn red line after red line after red line after red line that was taken away and taken away and taken away and not enforced, we are now out of the equation, which means you leave the Russians and Vladimir Putin in the middle of the most unstable region in the world, which, by the way, is the source of what fuels the energy that fuels our economy. So if you want to look at it as a Sunoco station, Vladimir Putin has just set up shop and opened up the biggest gas station in the world in the Middle East. Why is this important? Why is Vladimir Putin in the Middle East and Russian oil important? From Reuters, Russia prepares reprisals against Ukraine over Crimea blackout. Well, what's the Crimea blackout? So remember back in March of 2014 when Obama was running around telling how he kicked everybody's ass, and this was right before ISIS was JV, and Vladimir Putin, very, very quietly. And then all the talking heads. Oh no, Ukraine. Putin said the ethnic Russians they are being oppressed by the Ukrainians, and the whole world's going. This isn't going on. No, I must come save my people. And he comes and he saves and he grabs his people, and now he's in the Ukraine. Well, within the country of Ukraine is an energy-rich region, which Vladimir Putin very much has his designs on. The name of that region is Crimea. Within Crimea, there are an ethnic religious sect called the Tatars. I'll give you one guess what their religion is. Hello?
My guess is exhausted.
Oh, Durga.
Oh, I should have known.
I want you to think about this for a second. And coming into the second segment, we're going to go over our lack of leadership and why it matters and why the United States being outside the equation is so reminiscent of the beginning of World War I. Because think of the pretext that the Russians not used 50 years ago, 100 years ago with Stalin, but in March 2014. In March of 2014, Vladimir Putin and the Russian government and Russian military, along with whatever kind of shady commandos they use that don't have the patches and all this other stuff, they drop into Ukraine under the pretext that ethnic Russians, for those of you who are history buffs, the Rhineland, the first piece of territory ceded to Hitler and the Nazis in World War II in Czechoslovakia, was given to Hitler because Hitler was making noise that ethnic Germans, in the Rhineland were being oppressed by these Czechs, Putin makes the same argument in Ukraine and gets away with it in 2014. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, a Russian commercial airliner was blown out of the sky, which seems to be an ISIS bomb. And today, Turkey shoots down a Russian warplane in a part of the world that Putin had actually stopped pushing into because of world pressure. Guess what kind of ethnic minority excuse exists there for him to exact retribution on and expand into the region? 2 minutes, take us out.
Could it be that he has an ethnic minority in Crimea that is Arab? Ding, 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 ding. I'm a winner.
That is.
Well, unfortunately, that ethnic minority in Crimea has never been that fond of being Russian, from what I understand, and that's why all of those people go down to various countries within the Middle East and align themselves with things like ISIS and Al-Qaeda. However, I personally believe that Vladimir Putin is much better positioned and also much more believable in terms of saying he is going to take an action and actually taking it than the United States is at this point. And that is what terrifies me. If you don't know the history of World War I and World War II, the U.S. pretty much hung back until things got a little bit out of control. And to me, it's really seeming like the Middle East is getting more than a little out of control.
Always has been, always will be. But I'll tell you what, the one thing the kids need before we go out to break is a laugh. That's why. Get over to FlipsideShow.com right now. Find Michael Loftus. We'll come back with some more depressing stuff, even more depressing stuff about how this administration, Hillary Clinton, and hopefully our idiots can take advantage. JD and Stacey, K98 Talk.
Gets me right there. All right. Welcome back to the show. You know, this is America, and you get to pick where you want to live. You can live in reality, where who knows what's going to happen, or you can live where life is fun all the time and things make sense. It's in my brain. It's called Michaeltopia. Join me, won't you? In Michaeltopia, you can't be a text hypocrite. If you don't text people back, then you can't get mad at people who don't text you back. All right? We're all guilty of this one, I think. You know, you're like, I can't believe that guy didn't text me back. Man, ah! And then somebody sends you a text, and you're like, I'm not going to text him back. That guy's a loser. All right? Yeah, so text people back. And in Michaeltopia, there's an official word that lets people know when the entire text stream is over. You ever have that text that won't end? You're like, all right, buddy. Okay, see you later. All right, sounds good. Bye. Okay, goodbye. Goodbye. You don't know, like, who's going to text. Here's what you do. Wicker basket. When you text the word wicker basket, that is the official end of the text stream. Like, all right, man, see you later. All right, bye-bye. See you around at wicker basket. All right, we're done. Thank you so much. Be our friend on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm Michael Loftus. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
If you like your health care plan, you'll be able to keep your health care plan. This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
The feeling most people get when they hear a Barack Obama speech, I felt this thrill going up my leg. I mean, I don't have that too often.
Steady.
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. Ricky Robinson, host of America Off the Rails, will tackle the important issues facing America today as he tries to keep America from coming off the track. Get ready to hear the truth every Monday through Friday starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, here on K98Talk.com and the Spark Radio Network.
Welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy.
Are you conservative in a world of liberal?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're not alone. Hey, I'm Daniel Stafford, host of the Stafford Voice, and I'd like to invite you to tune in each Monday, 10 p.m. Eastern, where I'll break down the events of the week, and together we'll learn about how they affect you. So, sit back and get ready for the good, the bad, and the ugly of talk radio right here on K98 Talk.
From the Vikings of Norway to my home down south to Washington, D.C., I've been around. I've seen it all, and I've come out on top. You better beware, for all you know, the bell tolls for you. Enter the bell tower or watch your step. 8 p.m. Thursdays, K98 Talk.
Welcome back, JD and Stacey here on K98 Talk for Game On. Everybody out there, you know what to do. Get into the chat room, K98Talk.org. Right now, say hello to Stacey. Say hello to the smartest radio audience in the business. Remember, guys, we're not just here Tuesday nights live, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. We're live again Thursday Eastern. After Bell River and Whom the Bell Tolls, that badass Metallica promo on there, baby. We do it again Sunday morning, shifting gears, 11 a.m., Bloody Marys and Broadsheets. We do drive time in that 1360 AM WNJC in that Philadelphia, Northern Delaware, and Southern New Jersey for that 4.2 million listeners. We got coming up next week that Mr. Rick Wilson. If you're on them social media, on the Twitters, get over to @TheRickWilson. Remember, guys, not right now. After the show, you get over to Spreaker.com, #JD and Stacey. Find a catalog of every show that we've done here since we're Ricky Tivitavi, Rick Robinson, except tonight's, which we're going to erase.
Hey, stop.
Oh, good God.
I've done some behind-the-scenes polling. It's all good.
It really isn't.
No, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay, yeah. You want to know?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay, terrific.
Wow.
So when we came out of... I'm sorry, go ahead.
We're doing old Saturday Night Live references in the chat room. It's pretty hysterical.
Fantastic. When we came out of the last break, we were speaking about the opportunity that in a very Guns of August, and for those of you who don't know what the Guns of August is, and you know what, I don't, again, I have failed on this, I wanted to grab it, I don't have the author of it. The Guns of August is usually referred to as the preeminent book of what actually started World War I. If you are not a book-reading person, I highly recommend the History Channel or the American Heroes Channel had a series called World War I Apocalypse that actually walks through it pretty succinctly as well. And the Guns of August is not a book about World War I. It is a book about what precipitated World War I. And basically what precipitated World War I was an assassination of a foreign leader by a national at a time where there were all sorts of different politics and strains and thoughts running through European government, but at a time when those governments were ruled basically all by descendants of Queen Victoria. King Edward V and the what do they call the funny hat German guy, the Einschweig, what the hell was he called before Hitler, the Chancellor of Germany? And the German Chancellor could have been twins. And you had this hubris. And you had very dangerous actions being taken by not very serious, not very dangerous men. And what that led to was the greatest carnage and slaughter that up to this point the world has ever seen. I mean, from a visceral standpoint, the way that people were killed in World War I, it's just the most vicious thing the planet has ever seen. And to my mind, and we're going to get into this segment how some of the ISIS intelligence has been manipulated. We're going to get into what that might mean in the election. But you have President Obama making a claim about striking out against terrorism today by making sure that he attends the climate summit.
Well, I and it kills me, JD, like literally knife to the heart to have to say this. I think what the intent behind that comment actually was to demonstrate that the leaders of the world are still going to meet in Paris despite the terror attacks. I don't think the emphasis was supposed to be on climate change, because when I saw that article, I actually went out and listened to the speech. And I think it was really meant to say we're not going to move our meeting because you, ISIS, have done this to the city of Paris. We're still going to put world leaders in the city of Paris to have this meeting, even if it's a topic, well, we think is ridiculous. But I think it was more a show of we're not going to back away from that city because of what happened.
What did Neville Chamberlain say when he returned from his first meeting with Adolf Hitler?
I have no clue.
The quote from his papers was that Hitler was a man that Neville Chamberlain could, quote, work with. And it was going to Germany to meet with Hitler during his rise. And Neville Chamberlain, by the way, was the Prime Minister of the UK just prior to the outbreak of World War II. And he went and he met with Hitler, face-to-face, across the table. And when he left, his papers, his people, his associates, his biographies all relay that he said that he thought Hitler was a man he could work with. Hitler's papers, Hitler's adjutants, those people that were still around, talk about how they laughed before the door had closed when he had left the room. For how
badly, like Iran laughed at us?
How badly they laughed at his weakness. How marveled Hitler was that a great Western power like the United Kingdom, or at that time an empire like the United Kingdom, could be ruled by such a silly, weak, non-serious man. You know what that man did do, though, Stacey? He went to the floor of Parliament, and he gave a speech, about how he has seen peace in our time. And this had to do with the agreements that they had signed with the Germans who promised not to expand the military, build their navy, all of which they violated.
Mm-hmm.
I think that what you just said about Obama makes my point.
Absolutely.
Obama's
what do you think the
wait.
Iranians were doing when Kerry walked away from the negotiating table with Iran?
But Obama making that statement is the equivalent of Neville Chamberlain going on the floor of the Parliament and saying, we have seen peace in our time. Now, why is this man making these self-possessed asinine statements? The press, the Praetorian Guard for this jerk-off, is going to tell you that we have a systemic intelligence failure that very similar to what the press calls the manipulation and the stovepiping and the cooking up of the intelligence for the war in Iraq. Well, the same thing just got done to Obubu.
Well, except it got undercooked.
Well, if you watch the news, you would not know that this is happening.
This actually broke back in August, and we discussed it. How ahead of the curve are we, JD?
And do you know who broke it in August? The Daily Beast.
If I remember, wasn't it Judicial Watch?
No, it was the Daily Beast and the New York Times.
Okay.
Those big bastions of conservatism, baby.
Yeah, no, the New York Times, we all know how much they love us on the right.
And it was the Daily Beast's own reporting. NBC follows up this week. Senior military and defense officials who refuse to provide details because the information is classified tell NBC News that officials at United States Central Command possibly manipulated intelligence regarding ISIS in Iraq.
This went back to the Inspector General's complaining.
Neville Chamberlain. This is a man I can work with. Peace in our time. The allegations, which were first reported by the New York Times, involve possible manipulation or outright dismissal of some intelligence analysis that determined ISIS posed more of a serious threat in Iraq than had been previously reported. The accusation is that senior now this is how you can help kill the old Praetorian Guard mainstream media. There are 3 words in here that are the crux of this story. Military or civilian officials at CENTCOM. Who is a civilian official at CENTCOM? How do they get there? Through people who get them their jobs, who are appointed by the presidential administration in Florida, altered or ignored analysis, and downplayed the threat from ISIS to paint a more positive picture of Iraqi and U.S. military progress against ISIS. The same man who is telling us that these mullahs are people we can work with. Peace in our time.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, the chief client or customer of any intelligence data would be the commander-in-chief and the military leaders. But again, this went back to complaints that filtered up to the Inspector General's office from folks in CENTCOM saying our reports are being altered. Our reports are not being sent up the chain of command as we're writing them. Our reports do not reflect what we actually believe is the situation in the Middle East in various countries. And that broke back in August, and no one paid attention. Now that we've had a major attack in Paris, all of a sudden it's being looked at. And who is the primary client of those intelligent bites? Of course, that is the current administration, who has been telling us what? We went from we're going to contain ISIS to we're degrading ISIS, and in the last 3 days we've decided we're going to destroy them. Containment didn't look any different than degrading, and I have a sneaking suspicion that destroying them won't look any different either.
And again, this is how the media is going to prey on people not doing their own digging. It's not just CENTCOM. Every story you read is blaring on the headlines about CENTCOM. Every story you read, for the most part, only mentions CENTCOM. What you have to delve into in the stories, and this is why Stacey and I do this for our audience. This is why we spend the time doing the research that we do. It's not just CENTCOM, because if you take a look at the over 50 analysts, not 50 analysts on background going, yeah, you can use my name, but, don't tell nobody about me. 50 analysts with a bulk of data to back up what they are saying about their own intelligence being manipulated, they were not just from CENTCOM. Because when you take a look at the giant Leviathan and the giant breathing beast that is the federal government, even the military isn't that simple. Within this one intelligence area right now, where there is this just broad brush of 50 analysts, they're coming from two places, CENTCOM and the DIA. And what you have to understand about the DIA, which is the Defense Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency is basically the intelligence arm of the United States Army. The United States Army, at the end of the day, is accountable to its civilian leadership. And once you get past a certain officer rank, you have to be somewhat political. Go back and look at the generals and the colonels and the high-ranking general staff and just below that officers that have been purged and retired in the last 7 years in the Obama administration. Do you know who they've been replaced with? Political hacks. There are no less political hacks at the general and admiral level in the U.S. military than there are in politics. Are they great people? Yes, they are. Do they understand military tactics? Sometimes. If you take a look at this administration and you take a look at in some forward-leaning combat areas where the new commanding officers, they've come in from places like logistics. This, folks, is what happens when you have squirrels like gay marriage and Ferguson and the riots that are probably going to burn Chicago down to the streets in the next 72 hours because of the nonsense that's going on there. That's why this man is more passionate about trying to make you think that Republicans are more dangerous than ISIS and climate change than he is about anything else. Because if anybody had the opportunity to sit down for a minute and just crowd out all the noise and take a look at this, this is sad.
And I have to say that the best thing I've seen written on this, at least today, was actually by Noah Rothman in Commentary Magazine. And much as you said, JD, if you go about a third of the way down of his article, he says, the revelation first trickled in fleeting headlines in late August. The Pentagon Inspector General's office revealed to the New York Times that it was investigating the allegation that reports on the state of the anti-ISIS campaign were altered in order to present a rosier picture of the war than was merited. Those reports, it was claimed, were reviewed by a variety of White House policymakers, including President Barack Obama. Some senior American officials in recent weeks have provided largely positive public assessments about the progress of the military campaign against the Islamic State, the Times reported in August, but recent intelligence assessments, including some by the Defense Intelligence Agency, paint a sober picture about how little the Islamic State has been weakened over the past year, according to officials with access to classified assessments.
And for those of you who are interested in a little broader historical context of what's going on in Crimea and the Ukraine, I highly recommend. It was a Reuters article. Title of it was "Russia Prepares Reprisals Against Ukraine and the Crimea Blackout." About a minute and a half left here. Some of the bright lights at the end of the tunnel, though. You wonder if the Paris attacks and Boo Chamberlain that we have in the White House honestly isn't resonating with the average American voter. From the Hill and from a Fox News poll, 6 Republicans now beating Grandma, with Carly Fiorina being a 7, tying her, correct?
Mm-hmm. No, I think the last Dem debate, if you want to call that, because it's more of an exchange of domestic policy ideas, really highlighted that no one in the Democratic Party is taking foreign policy very seriously, where I think the last debate clearly showed that the Republican candidates are. My fear in this going forward is it's going to be the largest butt-kicking screamer that comes up front, rather than the person who has a true strategy and is a true perspective in how to, A, show Vladimir Putin we're serious, put the NATO alliance back where it needs to be, and put the European front where it should be in terms of the strength of the U.S. and allied military, and also how we deal with those folks in the Middle East. And I think those are very difficult, specific, and very, very, very telling questions that we need to be asking of all of the GOP candidates, because I think it will make a difference in 16.
If they want to be serious about foreign policy, this is the time. I honestly think that has something to do with Ben Carson's numbers taking a hit out of New Hampshire and Iowa, and I think the national security question is going to be very, very, very important coming into the first of the year and probably throughout the rest of the 2016 campaign. And remember, kids, guess who's responsible for your current foreign policy? That's right, Grandma.
Hillary Clinton.
That's right. Oh, listen, before we go to break, K98 Talk, Rick and Tiki Tavi, Rick Robinson, the K98 Talk News crew. K98 Talk News crew were able to secure an interview with some village goats in ISIS. This was their audio.
Those men wanted to have sex with me.
Crazy Dirk and JD and Stacey coming back. Crazy Chinese people and a whole bunch of other stuff in the stock. We'll see you on the other side.
One break coming up.
Hey everybody, this is Jason, host of According to Me. I'd like to invite you to check out my show. It's a 2-hour show that lasts 60 minutes in...
Listen, I hate to interrupt, but one thing I can do is read off a script. Just say, let me be clear a lot. It works.
President Obama, I can handle this. It's a radio promo. I'm not green. I've done this before.
Did someone say green?
Now, Al Gore is here. Listen, I'm just trying to record a radio promo. Do you mind?
Now, do you say good things about me on the show?
No, not at all. But if it makes you feel any better, I rip on Republicans just as much.
The AM radio frequencies give off very high levels of radiation.
Look, my show is on the internet, which you invented. Can I just do my promo?
I got a pen. I can veto that, you know.
I know you got a pen. It's not a law. It's a radio promo. Listen, just listen to my show. Barack Obama and Al Gore hate it, so you're going to love it.
Here's an executive order. Don't listen to his show. He doesn't like me. He's racist. And he doesn't recycle either.
That's it. I'm done. It's According to Me, Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on K98 Talk.
I'm easy like Sunday morning.
Wondering why you're up early with us on a Sunday morning making a cocktail? News lately got you drinking? Hung over from the mainstream media by Sunday? We are, and we got you covered.
We sure do. We got your hangover cure for those weekly news blues. So sit back, top off your mimosa, and add some Baileys to that coffee.
Take a match to your copy of the New York Times. Light, funny, and oh yeah, news with booze.
And a lot of laughter.
Welcome to Bloody Marys and Broadsheets. If it's Sunday, it's Bloody Marys and Broadsheets.
We're your cure from your weekly news hangover.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
And welcome back, JD and Stacey on K98 Talk. Everybody right now, get over to K98Talk.org. Get in the chat room as we take you to the top 10 o'clock hour Eastern Time, ending up the last segment here on Game On. We want to thank everybody for lending their ears and listening and taking some time to hear what we had to say about our thoughts on basically what happened today with Turkey and the Russian airline play and where that's going to be leading. Remember, guys, you don't just get this gold Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. We do it again live Thursdays, 9, Sundays, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard. We switch gears again. Little media show, Bloody Marys and Broadsheets. Friday, we do Drive Time, WNJC, 1360 a.m. Philadelphia. South Jersey, and Northern Delaware. Rick Wilson coming up, Spreaker.com, Flipside Show. Michael Loftus, you know what to do if you don't get it on the channel. Find it. Wah, wah, wah.
Wah, wah. And I am so happy that I made it completely through my thoughts on the current administration's handling of foreign policy without going to a four-letter word. I think I deserve a medal.
Obama gave out 17 today, so why don't you petition the administration? I think they gave out like 17.
Those are participation medals. I want a real medal.
No, those were Medal of Freedom. Well, I don't know who gave them.
Whatever.
I have no
Probably
idea.
Probably gave them the communists.
Whether they deserve them or not. All right.
This last segment's kind of scaring me, dude.
I don't need me too, because honestly, this feels like it's going to be the longest 10 minutes of my life.
Where do you want to start? Bathrooms, gay porn, or cloning?
I'd like to start at 9:55. How's that? That would make me very, 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 very happy. I don't know. Pick one.
Well, let's start with cloning. Y'all remember Dolly the sheep that was cloned in Scotland back in about the mid-90s sometime? Now the Chinese are questioning the medical ethicists who said that shouldn't happen over in Europe, and they're taking people with special emotional attachments to their dogs in particular, along with prize-winning racehorses, and deciding that they are going to clone them. So if you take our normal theme about robotics and robots acting like people and coming into your life, now the Chinese are interested in being able to replace your beloved pet.
Yeah, I guess that's why they're so big on the technology manufacturing. This is really a complete James Bond supervillain story. The guy, if you take a look, the one that I read on it was in the Telegraph out of the UK. World's largest cloning factory in China aims to produce 1 million cattle a year along with other animal. The world's biggest animal cloning factory. They're talking about genetic copies of the pets. The center may cause alarm in Europe, where the cloning of animals for farming was banned in September due to animal welfare concerns. I thought the creepiest part of this, the whole time that I'm reading this article, they go through this guy, the chairman of this Chinese biotech company, Boya Life, no way I'm going to get this right, Zhu Zhashan or whatever his name is. Let me ask one question. He was talking about the ban that Europe has on cloning for because of how painful it's supposed to be when the animal dies. Let me ask one question. Was this ban based on scientific rationale, or ethnic rationale, or political agenda, blah, blah, blah? Legislation is always behind science, but in the area of cloning, I think we're going the wrong way and we're starting to kill the technology. Then he gets into basically the reason that cloning is such a big deal over there. Interest in the agricultural biotechnology has been rapidly increasing in China, where farmers are struggling to provide enough beef for the country's growing middle classes. Prices of the meat are said to have tripled from 2000 to 2013. Mr. Zhu said his new facility will clone racehorses and a handful of dogs for people with, quote, like Stacey said, emotional ties to their pets.
Yep.
But its main producer was going to be on producing cow. Here's his quote. The dog has to be smart and obedient, strong, and sensitive. That's 1 in 100. You would normally have to look at a large number of dogs to find this one. Then the company's head, Wu Suk, back with Dolly the sheep, they were all excited because there just sounds to be like a bunch of way too many excited Chinese people running around,
Well, and I mean,
God.
The question to me is, you have people now saying genetically modified produce is not right for you, and a lot of things we've put into our food system, this. Okay, if you knew your cow was another cow and is now this cow, you gonna eat it? I mean, this sounds like some serious hokey pokey. And if you're talking about animals they talk about the death rates among these cloned animals, from birth to whatever, they just die. I don't know that I would eat cloned food. That just sounds wrong.
You know what? They just reminded me of the Team America World Police, where they had King John. Hello, Hans Bricks. Like that was the picture that I got of these little just. Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you something. How about this? How about all 1 billion of you learn how to drive first? Okay, stay in laney, stoppy at red lighty, see over dashboard without phone book, reach pedal, and then we'll worry about Dolly the sheep and cloning the rest of humanity.
Or just let some cows breed. It'll be fine. I know you have a 1-child now, a 2-child limit, but cows can breed indefinitely.
Oh, don't tell me about it.
Oh,
You just
okay.
see
Now,
some
just for
girls
you,
I
we
knew
should
from high
probably
school.
go to the Airbnb story because I've never used Airbnb, but I understand maybe you have. But apparently, it's like a haven for gay porn direction. What did I read in there?
I'm a big fan of Airbnb. But basically, what Airbnb is a website.
I've never even used Uber, so
it's a website. I've used it before, and it's absolutely fantastic. Whether people have investment properties, or they travel a lot, or they're going to be away for a while, they basically put their home up, and you have the opportunity to come and book in there and stay. I'll give you an example. When I was down in D.C., versus staying in a hotel and, worrying about where you're bouncing around to this, that, and the other thing, we used Airbnb. We had a 3-story townhouse, absolutely gorgeous, new construction, brand new everything on the inside. You have a kitchen. I mean, basically you're in somebody's house. I mean, it's a nice way to stay. It's better than hotels. It's great. However, evidently, if
3 simple words. I am gay.
And you rent out someplace on Airbnb, you're doing it.
Those men wanted to have sex with me.
The owner of a California mansion alleges that she was duped into renting the property via Airbnb to a firm that produces hardcore gay porno films and left the 1920s property. Oh, my God. What the hell's her name? Gloria Swanson. Awash in enema kits, various sexual devices, and assorted bodily fluids. Christina
But I mean,
Knappick,
if you look at the picture of the guy, he doesn't look like he would do that.
Yeah, that's what they say about
like
serial
the picture of the guy. I mean, he looks okay.
They say that about serial killers, too. Christina Knappick, owner of the Acacia Mansion in Ojai, a city 80 miles northwest of Los Angeles, charges that she agreed to lease the property for 5 days in mid-August to a woman who claimed that she and a, quote, group of friends would stay at the $1,100 a night home for a quick summer vacation. And in November 19th,
apparently they stayed there for a quickie or something.
Knappick, 46, alleges that Anna, the purported renter, was actually Andre Trevas, the gay porn actor, director, producer. He's busy. Known professionally as Michael Lucas. Not to be confused with that Michael Love.
Confused with Star Wars. No,
Michael Love.
I was thinking George Lucas, not his kid.
Knappick charges that she gave the keys to property to Travis, who posed as Anna's brother-in-law, and then that the enema kits were found throughout the house, on the floors, in the bed, in the nightstand drawer, and on the trash. Knappick alleges that she attempted to clean the property, but quickly became concerned that the mansion had been seriously damaged. Quote, many of the films Lucas Entertainment produces depicts men urinating on each other and giving each other enemas, the lawsuit states. These activities were not being conducted in a bathroom, but rather on beds, floors, and furniture.
Did they just say Lucas Entertainment? Oh, my God.
Well, his last name is Travis Lucas.
I know, except Lucas Entertainment did Star Wars.
All right, the toilet bowl story didn't print out for me, so why don't you lead with that?
No. All I'm saying is don't confuse this Lucas with any Lucas that's coming out with like new Star Wars things, because that would be bad. But
no,
I mean, when you look at this, I've never called Uber because I'm not exactly sure. I always get a vetted taxi from the airport, and I may never, ever, ever use Airbnb now.
Yeah, that definitely wasn't a commercial.
Because that was just like, ew! Anyway.
Well, keeping in the same vein, what was that toilet bowl story? I couldn't get that to print. The one with
it was a shock. It was actually the number of Americans who don't have indoor plumbing, nor do they have a loo, what we would call inside the house.
How did they get these demographics? Where did they pull these numbers from?
I believe it was from survey data, and according to census data, 1,136,157 U.S. households, were still using outhouses in 1990, and almost 500,000 were in 2014.
Wait, how many were in 1990?
500,000 U.S. households still did not have complete plumbing facilities, defined as having access to all of these items: hot and cold running water, toilet that flushes, and a shower or bathtub. So 500,000 people in the United States do not have that as of 2014.
Couldn't think of a better way to end the show before the holiday week. We want to thank everybody for joining us here today for Game On and that K98 Talk. And lady, you got them keys?
I got them keys.
Let's get out of here.
All right.
Tell the nice people where they can find you.
Oh, they can always find me on the Twitters saying something, especially about foreign policy at @ScottsFire, SCOTSFYRE, and also on Facebook at Stacey Lennox.
You can find me at GameOnJD on the Twitters, and good Lord, who knows where else. Everybody enjoy your holiday. Have a great Thanksgiving. Stacey and I will see you maybe Thursday night.
I'm looking for you, you Occupy freaks with your glitter bombs. Bring it on! Bring on the glitter. Everything has changed. Everything has changed in the last few years. Conservatives used to take it, and we're not taking it anymore.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Giggity, 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 let's have sex.